I'm an analyst with HDIN Research, and today we're diving into one of the most, polarizing stories in the entire auto industry, Lucid Motors. You've got this incredible, jaw-dropping engineering on one side, and on the other, a balance sheet that just looks like a financial black hole.
So that's the big question, right? Is this company building the most advanced EV on the planet? Or is it really just a ticking financial time bomb? Let's dig into the data and see what we find.
Okay, let's start with the good stuff. The bull case for Lucid. It is all about their world-class technology. I mean, this is the entire foundation of the company.
So let's break that down. Lucid's big advantage comes from doing everything themselves. It's all vertically integrated, in-house tech. We're not talking about off-the-shelf parts here. This is deep engineering across 4 key pillars. And that includes a 900-volt plus architecture, which in plain English means ridiculously fast charging.
And this right here just perfectly illustrates their whole philosophy. This is their drive unit. Get this, it packs an incredible 670 horsepower into a package so tiny you can fit it in a standard carry-on bag. The power density it's just off the charts. Now, that obsession with engineering leads directly to this number. The Lucid Air Pure is officially the most efficient production vehicle on the market. And we're not talking about a small lead here. This is a huge technological moat. What that means is you get more range out of a smaller and ultimately cheaper battery. And hey, don't just take my word for it. The market itself is validating this tech. I mean, the iconic luxury brand Aston Martin just signed a massive deal to use Lucid's powertrain and battery systems. That is a huge vote of confidence.
So the tech is undeniably brilliant. But, as any investor knows, amazing engineering is only half the battle. Can they actually turn that into a sustainable, profitable business? That's the real question.
All right, now we have to flip the coin over and look at the other side, the financial abyss. And, brace yourselves, because the numbers here are, frankly, they're staggering.
Okay, since the company started, Lucid has racked up a total deficit of over $15.6 billion. Just let that number sink in for a second. That is the scale of the financial hole they are trying to dig themselves out of.
And it gets worse. Look at their gross margin for 2025. It's a negative 92.8%. Let me put that in simple terms. For every dollar they bring in from selling a car, they spend almost $2 just on the parts and labor to build it. They are losing a staggering amount of money on every single vehicle that rolls off the line.
And that financial pressure? It is absolutely relentless. Their free cash flow burn, that's just cash going out the door, for the 2025 fiscal year was a massive $3.8 billion. Think about that. That's the money they're burning through just to keep the lights on and try to fund their future.
So you have to ask, where is all this money going? Well, a few big things. They had a huge strategic inventory cleanup that led to over $800 million in write-downs. Then you tack on another $120 million in tariff costs and $70 million just for the initial costs of ramping up the new Gravity SUV. This is the brutal reality of trying to scale a car company.
Now, looking at numbers like that, you're probably wondering, how on earth are they still in business? And that brings us to the third and maybe the most critical piece of this whole puzzle, their royal lifeline.
See, Lucid is what's known in the business as a controlled company. And what that means is that Saudi Arabia's public investment fund, you'll hear it called the PIF, holds a majority controlling stake. They are the ultimate backstop here, and that completely changes the entire risk profile of this company.
And make no mistake, this is not just a passive investment. The PIF is providing a massive credit line. They've got a guaranteed order for up to 100,000 cars. They're building a brand new factory in Saudi Arabia, and they control the board of directors. This is a deep strategic partnership.
So, with that incredible backing, Lucid finds itself in a desperate race against time. Their entire future, everything, hinges on what they're calling their strategic reset. And it all comes down to one absolutely critical year, 2026.
So here's the game plan. They started with the super high-end Air sedan. They're moving to the Gravity SUV now. But the real test, the absolute make-or-break moment for the entire company, is the launch of their more affordable high-volume mid-size platform. And that's scheduled for late 2026. And you don't have to guess why this is so important. This quote from their own official filing tells you everything you need to know. This mid-size platform is their one shot, their only shot at achieving what's called economies of scale. It's how they plan to finally stop losing money on every car they build, and turn all that brilliant tech into a real, profitable business.
But that path is absolutely littered with risks. And, to their credit, the company points these out themselves. First, can they even survive the cash burn until 2026? Second, can they actually pull off a mass-market vehicle launch, which is a whole different ballgame? And third, will the demand even be there in what's becoming a really crowded EV market?
And that brings us right back to the central paradox of Lucid. The bull case is simple. You've got world-class technology, you've got the backing of a sovereign wealth fund, and you've got a clear path forward. But the bear case is just as compelling. You've got an existential cash burn problem, just awful margins, and immense risk in actually pulling this off. And the crazy thing is, both sides have a really good point.
Which leads us with this one final critical question. The technology is genius. There's really no doubt about that. But can their strategic reset turn that engineering genius into a sustainable business before that financial lifeline runs out? That, right there, is the multi-billion-dollar question.
The next couple of years are going to be absolutely decisive for this company. For more deep dive industrial analysis, you can always find us at HDIN Research. Thanks for tuning in.